Last week, we experienced the magic of Britney as we had a fun time watching Britney S. Pierce unleash her inner Britney Spears, and Suki is hungry. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Yay!
Oh, Suki. She always likes to get in the podcast. One of our
She
podcats.
A podcat.
I fucking love that hashtag.
Welcome back to Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk and talk about Glee. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
Hannah.
And I'd like to introduce a special guest, one of my favorite long-distance humans who I love talking about TV with, and who's in my phone with his last name as Film TV, Ben.
Ooh,
Wow,
Ben.
what an honor. I'm still Film TV.
Film TV. Yeah. He wouldn't give me his last name when we met, so...
Still to this day, you have no idea what my last name is.
Is it Smith?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yep. So this week we watched Grilled Cheesus, Glee's take on religion, what everyone was asking for.
I was not prepared for this.
Nor was
just
I.
gotta say.
I
Not
forgot
prepared
half
for
of
this
it.
episode.
Like, I know I've seen this episode. Like, we're still in territory where, like, I remember things. But, yeah, I forgot most of this, and it was kind of fresh. So, yeah, I've got thoughts.
So let's talk about what we're all drinking. It is around St. Patrick's Day when we're recording this, so I'm drinking my favorite alcohol, Irish Red Ale Smittix.
Which is spelled Smithwicks. But for anyone out there who does not know how to pronounce Irish words, my Irish roommate tells me it is Smittix.
Because when I was in Ireland, I was like, can I have Smithwicks? And they're like, you mean Smittix? So
it's legit.
everyone has their one, like, I studied abroad, like, annoying thing. I didn't even study abroad. I just went for a week, but that's my annoying, like, it's pronounced Smittix.
I asked, by the way, I bought the Smittix, and I asked the person in the store where the Smittix was, and they were like, what? Do you mean this over here? And I looked at it, and I didn't know that it was spelled that way. So I was like, I don't know if that's it. I had to go back a second time because I didn't buy it.
You
And
were
I
like,
didn't know
I don't want
any
to
of
risk
this
this
till
purchase.
now.
Wow.
I, in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, am drinking an Irish coffee, which, let me tell you, is very, very good. We got a full cup of coffee with 1.5 ounces of Jameson, 1.5 ounces of heavy whipping cream, and 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar.
Woof.
Delicious.
It's really yummy.
I am drinking orange juice and water because we are living in the times of coronavirus, and I'm not panicking, but I'm panicking.
You're not sick, right?
I
don't want to get coronavirus from you.
Okay, so to be fair, we are doing this virtually. I'm not in the same room as you. You should be okay.
Hannah is currently
Second, I'm in
how
my
many
closet.
miles away?
I am in my closet. And thirdly, I do feel kind of tired and feeling like I'm getting sick, but I can't tell if it's just like I'm freaking out and I'm getting symptoms or if like I'm actually getting sick. Because today was the last day. I was talking to Ben before we actually got on the recording that literally today was the last day like I'm going to leave my house because I had to get groceries.
You've been on self-quarantine?
I'm going to be now officially. Like I'm not going to leave because I don't want to get anyone else sick, and I don't want to get sick myself. Yeah.
Wait, do you have it?
No.
She doesn't.
What?
You're
Okay.
supposed to, so
All
that
right.
well, there have been a couple confirmed cases in Hillsborough County, and they don't tell us, obviously, where those people have been and have not been, so, like, they could have been anywhere. Like, so, yeah.
So,
Fun
Ben, what are you drinking?
Okay. Thank you for asking. So I just finished drinking a little combination of similar to what Hannah has going on over there, but apple juice rather than orange juice
Oh, nice.
mixed with water, which I highly recommend. during
So
all.
watered down apple juice?
Yeah. Otherwise known as
No,
apple
that
juice.
apple
sounds
juice
delicious.
mixed with
Yeah.
water.
But in preparation for speaking with you all here, I just got from my refrigerator, and I'm reading up on it a little bit now, but it's called Miller Lite. Very excited
Oh.
about this one.
Okay.
And I'm reading on the can. It says inside is a fine Pilsner beer brewed with the highest quality ingredients. And I think that's an excellent kind of drink for me. It kind of describes the kind of guy I am. The types of things.
Overly vague.
Yes.
Overly vague.
Thank you for finally understanding me. But I just wanted to thank you for asking, and also I thought we could kick things off. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you hear that? So that's what
he opened it.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. Oh,
We did not hear it.
Okay, take two. Get another one. Crack it open.
okay. I'll get three
Well-
more, and I'll try to take it out.
Good.
We'll add an effect in post, just to see suddenly a really loud,
Yeah.
dramatic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Also,
that's
like, quick note for listeners: we all met in grad school where we studied film, respectively.
That's how we know
different,
each other.
little sides of film. But yeah, so we know all about like the lingo. So again, this is gonna be another week where we're using lots of lingo, like scene and character.
Oh,
Mhm.
boy.
It's
Story.
gonna be a lot. Story.
And plot.
Yeah, there is
I
plot
don't
in
remember
this
that
one.
one.
Oh, plot. That's the story as it progresses.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's coming back to me.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
I think I might have taken notes on that at some point.
Oh, just some film school humor. Ha.
So, Ben, have you watched Glee at all before watching Grilled Cheesus for us?
Oh boy, let me tell you, long history between me and this television series Glee. High school Ben sitting at home, hearing about this new show coming on the telly pretty soon, and I turn on the show. I watched the series premiere. This was 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
2009,
And-
yeah.
Yeah, I was so impacted by what I saw that I decided, okay, I need to just take about 10 years to recover from this before I'm ready to return to the show. So that's what made your invitation to be on the podcast so serendipitous. It
Wow.
coincided exactly with like I'm just now feeling ready to revisit the show.
Wow.
What, like 25 episodes after the one you watched?
Yeah, but I could still piece a lot of stuff together. You know how TV series are. You can sort of,
You know how the plots are. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're pretty much caught up with this episode. This is
okay,
yeah.
that's good to know. So yeah, my second episode that I've ever seen, the series premiere, and then Grilled Cheesus.
10 years
Great.
in between. Good.
And I've changed a lot since then. You can imagine.
How did it feel this time around?
Watching it as a man rather than as a boy, I got a lot out of it this time. I was able to relate to it, you know, as an adult man. Because as a teenager, if you watch other teenagers, you can't actually connect with them. You can't actually relate to them. You can only do that in hindsight. So that's what made this experience so powerful.
I feel that.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
Mhm.
Ben,
Yes,
do you know why I asked you to be on this particular episode?
I have an idea. That's for sure.
Do you want to guess?
Is it because I'm a good little Christian boy?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It made sense.
Ben's a Christian boy too?
Ben's a Christian boy. I'm a Christian Catholic boy.
I'm a Christian Catholic girl.
Ooh, yikes, guys.
Outnumbered.
Hannah's the odd one out.
Hannah's godless.
Hannah grew up in a Christian household, but is now an atheist.
Oh,
Hannah can't wait to have a kid and name him Samuel.
No, my mom wants me to do that though. Like legit.
I know.
I think we've had this conversation. Either that or you just like know my mom so well.
We're pen pals.
Amazing.
All right. So let's get into this episode, season 2, episode 3, Grilled Cheesus. Mercifully, there's only as many plots as Tina has lines.
Nice.
Whoa!
So there's like 3 plots.
Wow, she does not have that many lines this episode.
No, she doesn't. And one of them is, I'm pretty sure, wait, what?
Oh.
So, should we start with the dumbest one?
Which one is that?
Always.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what one you're referring to.
I think the grilled cheese Jesus plot,
The
grilled
titular
Jesus,
plot.
is la dum dum,
So what we
even
have,
by Glee standards.
we have Finn and grilled cheeses, Kurt,
We ha-
and then what
and his-
else?
Kurt and his dad, and then Sue is like a little
Oh,
subplot.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sure, let's start with the big one.
Yeah. So Finn makes a grilled cheese because his mom's not home, and using the George Foreman that he sort of broke when he tried to use it to clean his shoes.
He's such an idiot.
Yeah.
We've all been there, though.
Have we?
Yes, I think so.
I've never been there.
Kind of a rite
I
of
didn't-
passage, I thought.
I didn't
Or
have a
like
Breaking your George
grill.
Foreman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Typical
Anyway,
coming of age.
Continue.
Buildings Roman.
I have a George
Oh,
Foreman,
good
but I
term,
didn't
Cullen.
break it.
Yeah, so he grills on the sandwich what looks like an image of Jesus. So he's like, I'm so hungry, and he cuts half of it off and eats it, but keeps the half that looks like Jesus, which I thought was a fun detail. And he
Pretty
prays
strong
to
metaphor. How Christians live, you know? You get that? You hearing me? Go on, Cullen.
He prays to the grilled cheeses, and he asks to win his first football game because Artie, who's in a wheelchair, is on the team, and it would mean a lot to him. And they do happen to win, and he thanks grilled cheeses. So he
Which he saran wrap on a plate
Yeah.
and carries around with him.
And so he said in exchange for winning the football game, he would dedicate a week of Glee to him Jesus, grilled cheeses, because apparently Finn can decide what the lesson is for the week, because we all know Will doesn't have a lesson plan. And
No, the children lead those lessons.
and so he asks, "Oh, can we play tribute to Jesus this week?" And Will is like, "Well, we can't, but we can do songs about spirituality." Rachel is shooketh. That's what I wrote. She, as a good little Jewish girl, is very upset. Kurt is annoyed.
Let's break down that scene because there's so many face journeys, and like, so the first Finn's up there, he was like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do," but like when he first goes up there, Puck is like, "Oh God, he's coming out," and I'm like, why is he still allowed to make these jokes and get away with it? And then like when he says like he wants to dedicate it to Jesus because there's a man who has come into my life recently, he says that's way worse, and then Rachel's face. So like I hate Finn so much right now.
Finn or Puck? Or both?
Both. But Puck, like, he just keeps getting away with these things that, like, I thought we established in the Power of Madonna episode there wasn't going to be any more misogyny or homophobia. But I guess not.
Is that something they proclaimed in the episode at the end? One of the characters said, "By the way, I just want to let you viewers know that we tried out these jokes a little bit and have decided, maybe
I wish that's how that episode had ended. But no, like, it's just more of Schuster being the worst teacher ever. He just lets these kids say and do whatever they want. It's awful.
Yep, agreed.
Puck then decides to sing a song. He sings Only the Good Die Young by Billy Joel.
Okay, can I just mention something here? He says I'm going to go on continuing my streak of singing only songs by Jewish artists. I didn't realize that was a thing that he was doing. Have all of the songs that he's sung in the series been by Jewish artists?
I think
we could fact check.
We could.
Will we?
I think, because that's why he did the Sammy Davis Jr. song a while back. He did Sweet Caroline. Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't even realize that either. I almost forgot that until now. Yeah.
No, I had no clue.
Also, he butchered Billy Joel, and I'm really upset.
Which actually, would have been kind of a cool little Easter egg, and then they pointed it out, so.
Yeah. You know how I hate the song Imagine?
Uh-oh, here we go. A divided household again.
Why do you hate Imagine?
Ben. Oh, sweet Ben.
Saga?
This has been discussed.
It's been discussed in detail, but I do not like that song. And
What's not to like?
It's what?
I said it's only like 2 chords. What's not to like? It's very inoffensive.
Not to Cullen.
Not to me. And you know how some people's families teach them to hate minorities or gay people or Democrats? My family taught me to hate this song.
Wow.
Because Virginia is like a name that's passed down in my very Catholic family. So like...
Oh, I thought you were talking about Imagine.
No, I'm talking about Only the Good Die Young.
Okay, be specific here.
That has more chords in it.
There's more chords.
More complex.
I thought your family taught you to hate the song Imagine, and it was like, whoa.
They kind of did too, but
oh boy.
So it's just like always felt like a personal insult against like my family and our way of life. So I've never liked this song.
I mean, there's a lot of like Catholic references in it, right? So
yeah,
I can understand that.
I don't really know this song. I mean, I recognized it sort of when I heard it, but it's not a song I particularly like or listen to. So I
love Billy.
I don't think I cared.
Yeah. But Puck sings, everyone dances around.
Which was genuinely cute. I thought that was kind of cute that they all like got up and danced.
Yeah, they looked like they were having a good time.
Totally in sync. It was so realistic.
Can I say as a second-time viewer that the most interesting part of the show is watching the actors who are not singing just struggle to maintain some kind of emotional or like expressive consistency, or I don't know, it's just a very strange situation to have one person singing, and I guess this applies to all musicals, but then like to watch everybody else have to kind of like dance around and like match the expressions of the song. I don't know, it was very funny to me. But you guys are pros. You've been through this forever, so for you
no, I totally agree. Because, like, Quinn, the blonde cheerleader without bangs, she struggles a lot with that. Where, like, a lot of times she looks so disinterested, yet she's mouthing along. And I'm like, Quinn, honey, you don't have to sing if you don't want to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do in that situation.
True. She's like, oh, God, I feel pressured.
Yeah, I can't feign emotion like that. But that's why I'm not on Glee.
Everyone has to practice their active listening face.
Yeah.
On Glee. Yeah. And so the next point in Finn's Phil Finn.
Can we please keep calling him Phil?
Phil.
No, that's confusing.
True.
With his talk with Grilled Cheesus is he prays that he can go to second base with Rachel and touch her boobs.
Gross.
And Rachel's upset with him because he is now a Christian ? And she's like, I want my kids. It's important to me that my kids be raised Jewish. And he's like, sure, they can go to Jewish church and wear those little hats. And instead of being like, oh, maybe I should educate my boyfriend on my beliefs, she's like, just makes out with him, and they lie down, and she's like, you've given something to me and I want to give something to you. And she puts his hand on her chest, and he thanks grilled Cheesus.
Really beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Like, so she literally says, like, I want my children to practice a religion that, like, I see fit, essentially. So going back to that, like, controlist thing. But, like, I literally
After she's 25 and has won multiple Tonys.
Yes. And he's like, you're going to wait till you're 25? And it's like, Finn, chill out. Like, you guys won't be together because you guys are so toxic. That's literally what I wrote down. I was like, you guys will never last. You're so fucking toxic. Like, I just, like, cringed that whole scene. And also, she would definitely hear him being like, thank you, grilled Cheesus. Like, they're so close. Like, you can hear literally everything that's happening with a person when you're making out with them. Like,
whenever I make out with someone, I say thank you, grilled Cheesus.
I'm going to now, believe it.
Again, another rite of passage. We've all been there.
Another rite of passage. Another Bildungsroman.
The way of thinking of, like, raising your kids a certain way in a certain religion, though, that's extremely prevalent.
Oh, yeah.
It's not out of the realm of reality.
No, not at all.
I didn't particularly agree with it when she was saying, like, so I want them to be, like, religious, but with a religion that I'm okay with. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay,
so
but...
There is also another little Easter egg in there. So, like, really early on in the first season, we see, like, a picture in Rachel's locker of her dad's, but, like, we hear in this one that she's like, my dads were both of their ancestors were enslaved in different ways, or, like, in different times. So that's a little fun Easter egg to learn about Rachel's dads.
Yeah. A little fun.
Mm-hmm. A little fun tidbit. Fun fact, that is not consistent with what happens in the first season where we see that image. Because they are not the same people.
They're not the same people when they're cast in season 3.
Yeah, no.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah. I think, like, they just hadn't thought it all through at season 1. I mean, and we can see proof of that. They haven't thought a lot of things through. Anyway.
Finn has his third wish because he kind of thinks it's like a genie. And he prays... he prays in the middle of... But we'll talk about this next, but Kurt's dad and his almost stepfather is in the hospital after a heart attack, and he prays that he can be quarterback of the football team.
Isn't that in the middle of the locker room that he does that?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
In the middle of that gross-ass locker room, he opens that sandwich that he's had
which
for
he
a few
eats
days.
later.
Like,
Yeah. It's been a couple days. Okay?
And it was in the
and
locker
why do you
room.
have to open the saran wrap in order to pray to a sandwich?
He didn't open the saran wrap.
Oh, he didn't? Never mind then.
Because he wanted the sacredness, like a tabernacle.
Oh,
around.
okay.
I don't think he knows what a tabernacle is.
No, you're right.
Like a veil. Like the veil in the ancient temple of Herod.
It's like my Bible, which I still have wrapped in saran wrap. Because I don't want that.
Keep out the dust of the devil.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely identified with that moment for that reason.
Okay,
yeah.
Good to know.
So,
yeah. People who open their Bible are noobs. Real Christians saran wrap their Bible shut.
I thought you were going to say real Christians don't read the Bible, and I was like, wow, hot take. Shots fired.
Yeah, we can't because our Bible's saran wrapped to keep out the dust of the devil.
I haven't memorized anyway, so, you know.
Oh, wait.
That's not true.
Cullen, can we just address the shade that you threw at a teenager's prayers for a moment?
I would like to continue throwing shade at these prayers. These prayers are so gross. Okay, so, like, I feel like we do kind of have to talk about... Is this when Puck says something to him about, like, he started going back to church or to Temple? right?
To pray for Bert, to pray for Kurt's dad, and Finn hasn't done
At
that.
all. Like, and I was like, wow, I'm sorry, is Puck literally the grossest human being coming off better than Finn, who is usually like a little baby? I'm like, I was stunned.
Finn is a little baby. That's what children pray for.
Yes, but
that's what they pray for.
Finn's always like,
we've already established he's a child.
Always has his heart in the right place, and his heart is in such the wrong place. And Puck is like, yeah, I've been praying for Kurt's dad because I'm kind of bummed about it. Like, that sucks. And I was like,
yeah,
what's happening?
I'm gonna defend Finn here, okay? When you just find out that God is a thing, and that's like how you start. You start you start praying for things that you want, and that's how you pray. Like, it's because nobody else, no one knows how to do it.
I was mostly just stunned that I could come away from a scene being like, wow, Puck kind of is.
But the only reason he came off, but he's had practice. He grew up Jewish, so he knows the things that are good to pray for. Finn doesn't know. He thinks that God is a grilled cheese sandwich. So he's a child. A grilled cheese
sandwich.
That's, like, for me, that was what made Finn's storyline, like, most interesting to me. I wasn't, like, totally thrilled with the direction it went, but for me, like, it is very exciting to see a character approaching faith in a very childlike way. Unfortunately, like, I don't know, the pseudo spiritual experience with like touching Rachel's breasts, and then I don't even know how I guess we'll get to the end of that storyline in a second, but I don't even know what to make of where he ended up at the end of the episode. But
I'm not saying he has great prayers. I'm just saying they're somewhat understandable from his lack of,
I agree,
experience in faith matters.
Yeah, he literally is like, I don't know if this works like a genie.
Yeah, he has no idea.
So he wishes to be quarterback, and at the football game, he tells Sam to do something. Sam is the quarterback, and Sam gets injured, and so Finn gets to be quarterback. And he's kind of horrified because it's like his wish, his prayer went horribly wrong.
I'm confused.
It went horribly right.
So
yeah, it went horribly right.
Right. Yeah.
He got what he wanted, but in the worst possible way.
So, okay. When they're in the huddle, sorry, we're going to have sports terms here. For our listeners, that is. Okay, so he says something like, oh, that left tackle has been cheating something. And then they base the play off of that. And then Coach Beast comes over and is like, yeah, that left tackle has been cheating right the whole night. And I couldn't tell if Finn had done that on purpose, like if he was, because he was kind of shitty to Sam in the huddle, and he was like, I'm the only quarterback who's actually won a game on this field. And like it kind of, I couldn't tell if he did that on purpose or if it was an accident, like he was genuinely trying to help.
No, it was an accident because the conversation was that he said the left tackle has been cheating right all night. We should go in this direction. And then they do it, but the understanding is that the left tackle actually went left.
Got it.
And when Sam's on the ground, Beast is like, yeah, there's no way you would have known because the left tackle has been cheating right all night. So she was thinking the same thing as Finn, but he changed her play. But it wasn't on purpose to get Sam.
Okay. I think it was just my lack of understanding football that I was like, wait, was that on purpose or was that an accident? Okay, so that's good to know.
I think he was just trying to present his superior quarterback abilities.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So he goes to Emma, the guidance counselor, and explains that like what happened is his fault because God appeared on a grilled cheese. And Emma is like, well, maybe that's not exactly what happened, and maybe these things happened due to natural causes, not necessarily being miraculous. And Finn is upset, and he's like, I thought I had a direct line, and now I'm just like everybody else. And yeah, I'll wrap the storyline up so then we can just discuss the whole thing. And Emma is like, that's why these are the big questions, because they're big and they're hard to understand. And then he's upset, and so he sings "Losing My Religion."
Pretty subtle there.
And pretty subtle. Yeah, Glee is very subtle.
Yes,
it's a subtle show. If anything, Glee is subtle and tasteful. And it ends with him being like, I used to think God was watching out for me, but now I don't really know. And that's Finn's journey. He eats the grilled cheese at the end.
Yeah, also that.
Which is disgusting because it's been like 3 days unrefrigerated.
And it sat in a locker room locker.
Yep.
It's so moist in there, too. Like, I can't even imagine. Okay, so I definitely did not understand Finn's story the way you guys did. I really just saw it as him being a little douchebag. But, like, I guess in that, like, context of it being, like, very childlike introduction to religion, I definitely understand it more. But I also think, like, the Losing My Religion song, with as on the nose as it is, makes it come off douchey, because that song, we're like a teenager singing it 40 minutes, kind of, or 30 minutes after he discovered religion, makes it kind of douchey to me. So, like, I kind of wish they had done something a little bit more subtle, because that's kind of a bummer if it is, like, what you guys are saying, like, that more childlike introduction to religion. So.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I don't like the ending of this particular journey. And I think it was weird the way that Emma decided that his prayers weren't being answered and there weren't any miracles happening, and anything that is natural isn't God. Because that's not the way a lot of people see religion anyway. So that was kind of strange to me. And then Finn just takes it at face value. It was very strange because it was almost like someone else was deciding for him, and I don't particularly like that. But, you know, that's Glee, so.
I think Emma said God works in mysterious ways, but just not through sandwiches, which I don't know what that means. Like, on the spectrum of, like, sandwiches to profound works of God. I don't know where you draw the line exactly, but yeah, some pretty solid advice. Oh, and then she said, I wrote this down too, big questions are big for a reason, but absolutely everyone struggles with them. Which maybe years ago I would have been optimistic enough to really believe that, but after 4 years in grad school, I'm not so sure that absolutely everyone is struggling with them. I think a lot of people avoid them or ignore them. But
do you think everyone struggles with them when they realize they're dying?
I don't know.
Heavy question.
Yeah, very heavy.
We're in the times of coronavirus, Alyssa.
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, you get to the point where you think you're dying, or like, you know, a lot of people die in their sleep. But if you don't die in your sleep and you're like consciously aware that you're not gonna be on the planet anymore, in a body, like,
I'd like to believe that at some point, everyone engages with, like, big questions, because I think that's legit. So I think it's valuable to engage with big questions, and if you don't, then you might be missing something, or it might seem like you're missing something. But yeah, I don't know. It's
I actually, really quick, like, I actually thought the Emma scene, I thought she handled it really well with Finn, because, like, she's always put into awkward situations on this show. And I thought that was actually handled kind of well, like, she talked him down from things. But then I'm also seeing that, like, yeah, what you guys are saying, like, she's trying to comfort him, but maybe it's having an adverse effect. So maybe, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very confused.
I agree that I thought she handled it well, in that she was trying to say he was blaming himself for something bad happening to Sam. And she was like, that's not exactly your fault. So she was approaching it from that way. But I also see everyone else's point about she was kind of spelling things out for him. But it is an awkward situation to be in as a guidance counselor at a public school.
Well, if you're a guidance counselor at a public school, like, you might be able to just say maybe you can see a spiritual advisor for
That's
someone
what I
who's
would have
not me.
preferred. I would have preferred
Yeah.
like a rabbi or a pastor or someone. Like, I actually was surprised, like, this is kind of going to the other storyline, but like when we see them at church, like Kurt and Mercedes, I was surprised there wasn't a religious leader speaking. Like,
Mercedes is the pastor.
Mercedes is God.
Why would a pastor speak when music can speak much more powerfully?
True. Snap.
Got him.
Okay. Got him.
So before we step on to the Kurt storyline, the one thing I want to say is in my Gleeboot, I would have Finn start with this childlike place, and when Bert isn't healed, then he would begin to have doubts, and maybe instead of being like, now I don't believe, he's like, oh, I guess I'm not sure. This is more complicated than I thought it was. Because that's a more interesting, and like that's something that happens to teenagers, is that they're having to develop their everything about them from child to adult. So that includes their spiritual life, or lack thereof. Yeah. So I think that would be more interesting than like, I discovered a grilled cheese and I made 3 douchey wishes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm losing my religion when, like, does that even count as a religion? This is a show where Quinn got pregnant and kicked out by her Christian parents, and she's still Christian, and you're like, God hates me, grilled cheese.
Well, it seems like Finn would be the type of person to actually, like, acknowledge a grilled Cheesus. Okay, he does. Sticking on it for an entire episode is a little bit,
Title of the
not
episode.
great.
The title, the titular plot.
Yeah, this is gonna lead into the Kurt discussion, which we can start talking about, but like, I actually was kind of bummed that the Finn Kurt stuff didn't collide more than it did, because like Finn already has lost his dad and Kurt could possibly lose his dad, and they kind of connect on that a little bit, but I actually would have preferred their storylines to be more converged with that point. Like, at first
Same.
he starts with the grilled cheeses, and then he kind of moves into like getting him more to like those bigger questions, like it's more complex, because like there could have been a lot more emotional weight. And I actually wrote that like this is one of those things that I'm like, definitely religion can be discussed in the Gleeboot, but I'm like, is this one of those things where like Glee handles every topic but none of them well sort of situation? I can't really tell.
That's what it feels like. But
Well,
I was surprised Finn didn't reach out to any of the other students who actually have legitimate faith.
Right.
You know?
They're all
They didn't
singing
have
about
Cheesus,
Jesus in the
though.
choir room. Yeah, I mean, when you have grilled cheeses, you don't need anything else.
Well, and it was, I guess
Literal
it's,
sustenance.
I guess it's important
The bread
that
of God.
that he consumes the Cheesus at the end, because maybe they were going for, like, on the one hand, that could be read as like he's like done with this, so he's removing it. It could be read as he's consuming it thoughtfully, so he's like allowing it to ruminate and continue with him. I think all of us, I'll speak for all of us when I say that the correct reading is, this is disgusting. He's eating an old sandwich that he's been carrying around with him. But yeah, there's some
Amazing.
some possible readings there.
Yeah, definitely it could be interpreted as a communion, eating the body, the bread, the body.
Like Ben says, the correct reading is that it's disgusting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, has anyone here watched Gilmore Girls?
No.
Not all the way through, but I've seen quite a bit of it.
Oh, is this our next podcast?
Because Friday night dinners are a big part of Gilmore Girls, and apparently
Yes.
they're a big part of Glee, because Kurt and his dad Bert are talking because Kurt gets him breakfast, and he's trying to get him to eat healthy, and but Kurt is trying to back out of Friday night dinner with the family,
who
Which is the first time
includes
this is ever mentioned, right?
Finn's
Yeah.
mom
Okay.
and Finn. But I thought they moved in together. Or did they decide that was too soon? They didn't.
I think they didn't.
They did, and then Bert kicked Finn out.
Okay, so then, like...
So it happened,
didn't
and then
happen.
it unhappened.
Okay. I was like, I couldn't remember how that story ended, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So Bert is upset that Kurt is blowing off Friday night dinner and traditions. And then
But also, Finn wouldn't be able to do it either if he's on the football team because football plays on Friday nights. So, like, Finn also wouldn't be able to make it.
Maybe it's
Good
after
catch.
the football game.
He said it was supposed to be at 7 o'clock instead of 8 because Carol has to work the late shift. I'm like, Finn's game probably starts at 7. Like, I'm confused. What I'm saying is there's a logic hole in Glee for the first time ever.
Oh, Lord.
We never really see them eat. Are they even human?
They
We
don't go
only
to the
saw him
bathroom.
eat the grilled cheese. Yeah.
They go into the bathroom to sing. They don't
I
ever
want-
use the bathroom.
I want to see more using the bathroom on Glee. I don't know about you guys.
I want to see more using the bathroom in every type of media. Like, that's
Thank
so
you.
important.
You know where
to
I
me.
want to see it? Post-apocalyptic
Yes.
universes.
Yes. I want to see
I want to
people
know what
shitting.
happens.
I want to
Yeah.
know. Okay, I'm done.
Anyway,
There's definitely no toilet paper.
That's
And
true.
that's where we are. So
In coronavirus times, we know there is no toilet paper to go around.
okay, we are off topic.
We
So
are.
Bert has a heart attack.
Which is
He-
very sad. and
He has a
scary.
heart attack. It's very sad and scary.
He goes into a coma.
He goes into a coma. I'm just a man aping the words of a more competent woman. Yeah. So he has a heart attack that goes wrong and goes into that goes even more wrong, and he goes into a coma. And
That goes even more wrong.
and Emma finds out. She runs to tell Will, and they tell Kurt in class. I'm like, why did Will need to be here?
Right.
Yeah, that was weird. Why did she tell Will first?
She would have gone right to the classroom.
Yeah. And then they're in the hospital together, and we find out that he's in a coma, and it's real sad because Bert is a sweetheart of a character. So it's sad, and we're sad because he's Kurt's only parent. So it's pretty scary. And then everyone the next day at school is apologizing to Kurt. Finn is upset because he found out at gym class, and he's like, why didn't anyone tell me? And he's like, well, he's not your dad. And they sit down, and Finn like tries to like rub Kurt's back, and Kurt's like, no.
He like finger wags him. It's really funny. Also, real quick reference. There is Quinn and Mercedes together, like sitting next to each other, like they're friends again. And that needs to be explored in the Gleeboot. End of rant.
Definitely. There's a lot of Quinn and Mercedes content because
And
Quinn and Tina back up Mercedes. Quinn Teen Sadie's back up. They're singing I Look to You because Mercedes is one of Kurt's best friends, and she's like, I'm wondering what to sing to Kurt or to say to Kurt, and I realize I need to sing it because this is Glee. And she sings I Look to You, and Kurt's like, thank you, but I don't believe in God. And Tina says, wait, what? And he's like, and Mercedes is like, you can't prove that God doesn't exist. And she's like, you can't prove that there's not a dwarf in a teapot that shoots moonbeams out of his nipples on the dark side of the moon. And Brittany is like, wait, is God an evil dwarf?
Oh, there's another amazing Brittany line when her and Santana come up to Kurt right after they find out about his dad. She goes, I did a book report on heart attacks if you want to give it to the doctor. I got a whole grade level lower because I wrote it in crayon or something like that. And I literally died.
That was the part I laughed hardest at. I don't know any of these characters, so I wasn't sure if there was anything I needed to know. But
And this is coming off of a big episode for Brittany. Like, all last episode was pretty much about that character. And this just, like, really, like, oh, it's so good. Like, I did a book report on heart attacks if you want to give it to the doctor. Like, she's amazing.
And and they're talking about whether or not God is real. Quinn is like, "This we shouldn't talk like this. This isn't right." And Kurt is like, "I appreciate your thoughts, but I don't want your prayers."
Yeah.
And he walks off.
Okay, can I just say that I found it extremely weird that a bunch of public school students thought that it was strange that someone didn't believe in God.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had the same thought.
And also,
Yeah.
like, weird that like, they were being shut down from talking about it, too, like, in a public school. Like, they were all being like, yeah, like, this is my belief, and it's like, you guys don't really talk about that in a public school. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone was very shocked by things that they should not be shocked by.
Yeah.
That
Which is
seems
kind
to be
of
a
like
theme.
Glee. I mean, honestly.
That idea of Kurt as this kind of atheist martyr, when it's like he wouldn't be the only one in
Mm-mm.
that class who at least wasn't religious, or like
Right.
it just seemed weird that it's like Kurt, and it definitely seemed like Ryan Murphy being annoying and making himself a martyr.
Yeah. And also,
Kurt.
like, I do kind of understand where Kurt's coming from, because like when I was in high school and my grandma passed, like, a lot of people, like, even people at school who were religious, were like, oh, like, I'm praying for you and your family and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I was super annoyed anytime someone said that to me. So, like, I understand where it's coming from, but like you said, like, that martyr type, like, theme that's happening is also very annoying. So yeah, Kurt was a struggle for me this week.
But he was definitely a complicated character, which I
Yes.
appreciated.
That was amazing. Also, he's wearing normal clothes, and I'm so excited. He looks really, really good.
Yeah. Rachel sings a song from Yentl, Papa Can You Hear Me, with Finn.
Sorry.
Because she's singing, she's praying for Kurt's dad, and it cuts over. She starts singing with Finn in the park, and then it cuts to Rachel, Quinn, Mercedes, Finn, and Finn's mom Carol in the hospital room praying, and they're all gonna take turns praying for him, and Kurt kicks them out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're just trying to help, and he's like, well, I have acupuncture, which is gonna help. Yeah. And then because he walks in with this doctor or this acupuncturist, and Finn is like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to pray in Muslim, and it's like,
Yeah.
and she's like, I'm Sikh.
Yeah. So Kurt was definitely lurking while Rachel was finishing up her song. He was lurking at the window. He does this a lot.
He loves to do that.
He loved the good lurk. But also, like, I'm surprised they didn't, like, have him burst in, like, while she was singing and be like, what are you doing? Like, that would have been, like, it's complicated, but it kind of would have been more powerful if he interrupted her, at least in my opinion. But, like, he lurked and let her finish, and it kind of feels like the writers being like, this is Rachel singing more Barbara, like, we have to let her finish. And
yeah, it feels like wasted drama.
Yeah, because like Kurt, like, it's complicated because Kurt's lurking, and it's like he probably feels like complicated about the fact that he's like, maybe this could help, maybe this can't, but like we aren't in his head, and everything we've heard from him is, I don't believe in this. So like it's unnecessary. Like, why not just have him interrupt her?
Mm-hmm. And then I think it's Mercedes who says to Kurt, I forget what she says exactly, like, Rachel's Jewish, I'm Christian, so one of us is bound to be right, or something.
Oh yeah, all the different denominations.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, which, like, of course, is a joke. It's, like, meant to be a joke, but again, this issue of, like, the safety net, like, only,
Yeah.
like, believing, like, not actually believing or pseudo-believing.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah. So the next plot is Mercedes approaches Kurt in the school and is like, I feel like I don't know how to be around you. And he apologizes for kicking them out.
Wait, before that, that's Kurt's song.
Oh, I thought it came after. Did it come before?
Yes, it came before because I wrote down a line that Mercedes says, or Kurt says to Mercedes, and I'm like, got thoughts.
All right. Do you wanna lead?
Okay, so Kurt's song, he does this like monologue in the choir room about how like after his mom died, he was sort of like growing up with his dad, and they had this like, he just like had this moment at the funeral where his dad held his hand, and then he sings "I Want to Hold Your Hand," and like his whole monologue, it's really brief, but it's also like really touching. Was that just music playing?
No,
I thought someone was gonna put music on top of this for a second. I was like, all right.
It's very touching what you're saying.
It was like my computer is somehow having notifications, but nothing popped up, so I don't know.
That is really
That's the notification sound, though.
I legit thought "I Want to Hold Your Hand" was gonna start. But yeah, so like that whole monologue I thought was really, really sweet. And
is this when they did the flashback?
Yes, that montage. I literally had tears in my eyes. I love a good like montage of moments past. Even though we've never seen these moments before, I thought it was really, really well done.
Can I just say that the mini Kurt is super adorable.
And it's very well casted. Like,
yes, he looks like a younger version of Kurt.
I loved the little tea party where he was teaching Bert to put his finger up, his pinky.
It was so cute.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was
I felt emotional.
It was very emotional.
I felt an emotion.
I felt an emotion. It was sadness.
And then that's when Mercedes approaches him.
Yes, and is like, I just want to ask you to come to church with me. And she's like, you can wear a fabulous hat. And Kurt's like, well, you had me a fabulous hat.
Okay. That joke doesn't work because one, it was the very last thing she said, which means he just ended up giving up. Normally you say it like, you had me at hello, which is
that part was funny.
And then it also was like, he had this change of heart, quote unquote, because I literally wrote like gay stuff in terms of like how Glee characterizes Kurt being gay and about like how fashion is very important to him. So I'm like, I feel like they could have had a more emotionally impactful reason for him to be like, yeah, I'll go. Like, it was kind of rude.
Well, Mercedes' kind of like speech to him was also slightly strange to me because at one point she says, I know you don't have faith or you don't believe in God.
She says that in the church too.
Yeah.
What? She says that in the middle of the church too.
She called him out.
She does. Yeah, well, she's saying it at the lockers.
Yeah.
And then I was expecting her to say, but I do.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't say that. She says something else that is much less memorable and also not as good of a, like, argument.
Right.
Like,
that's
I don't know. Like, this episode, I feel, should have been about respecting other people's beliefs, and it was instead about whether or not God exists.
Ooh,
I don't know. I kind of felt the opposite. Because, like, I was thinking about how crazy it would be if at the end of the episode that, like, they actually made a claim, like, and the conclusion of the episode is God is real or God is not real. And I knew they wouldn't do that, but I was wondering how far they would go in that direction. And I read on this website, wikipedia.org, that I read about the episode that when making the episodes, they wanted the most equal amount of like pro-religious versus anti-religious statements, whatever that means. So like
that's Ryan Murphy for you.
Yeah, but with Mercedes, like Mercedes was my favorite character in the episode since Finn ended up being so frustrating. I was supposed to say that at the end. That's okay.
It's okay.
I'll say it again with more certainty. Yeah, sort of the way that she kind of goes through the episode demonstrating the strong faith. And then at the end, you're right. She, like even at the church service, I think she says almost something like, "I know you don't believe in God, but you've got to believe in something,"
Mm-hmm.
which is like a little vague, but like I understand that's basically the best that the show can do. Like, since they can't make that claim at the end, like, yes, like this person's right or this person's right.
Yeah.
But it like doesn't quite capture the nature of belief.
Also, it's not even quite true because I know a lot of nihilistic people
Yeah.
and they still get along just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I did think, like, kind of going back to what I was saying about, like, how I would be annoyed in Kurt's situation, that, like, sometimes when, like, a lot of times when people were talking to him about religion, like, it could be that, like, martyrdom that was kind of coming off from Kurt, but also, like, a lot of people were kind of condescending to him, and I'm like,
yeah.
let this boy feel his feelings. Like, he's
Yeah.
going through a really, really tough time. Like, as if, like, having one parent in the hospital isn't enough. Like, the fact that he has no other parent is, like, incredibly... So, like, yeah, a lot of condescension to Kurt,
Well,
and that sucks.
It's interesting that they put the issue of Kurt's dad being in the hospital and religion in the same episode, because I feel like those could be two completely different episodes and work in completely different ways. Whereas, like, a religious episode, you could delve into a ton of different religious beliefs and, like, how it influences personality and friendships. And then with Bert being in the hospital, you could focus in more on Kurt and Finn and, like, their different experiences with having a father, kind of like what you were saying earlier in the episode, Hannah.
Yeah, I think, like, rather than, like, God's existence, it kind of is coming down to faith, of, like, whether or not faith is important, or, like how to have faith is kind of the idea. And I think that goes to, like, Ben's amazing research about, like, them wanting to be really sort of diplomatic about it. Yeah, it's very strange. But also, like, speaking of faith, I have two songs that I am really upset that didn't make it in this episode. One is Faith by George Michael. And then the other, this kind of goes toward the end, which I can save. But yeah, I have another song recommendation for the Gleeboot, so.
I have a couple too.
Cool.
We'll get there.
We may have the same one, actually. My other one, so.
We'll see.
Ooh.
And then, so they go at church with Mercedes. She sings Bridge Over Troubled Water to him with the choir. And there's a lady with the same hat as Kurt, and they, like, smile at each other.
Oh, really? I
missed
totally
that.
missed that.
Yeah, it's like this brief little shot, and he, like, looks across the aisle, and the lady has the same
Amazing.
hat. Just saying that on each side of the aisle, we're all the same.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Wow.
Profound.
Yeah.
It's very diplomatic.
And at the end of the episode, Kurt's dad, Kurt is talking to him in the hospital about their first Friday night dinner without their mom, and he feels Bert hold on to his hand just a little bit. So he's regaining consciousness. So he's gonna get better, or he's making steps towards getting better. And that's how then the episode goes into the final musical number, which deals with our final plot about Sue Sylvester. She's upset with Will for talking about religion and spirituality in class, because she's like, this is a public school. And she gets Kurt to launch a complaint to the school board to get them to stop. And then Emma is like, how could you do this? We're trying to comfort this boy. And she explains her story with religion, how she kept praying for her sister, Jean, to get better when she was a little girl, and she realized no one was answering her, and how she doesn't believe in God because of that. I'm just covering this whole storyline really quickly. And then Sue, later, we see her playing checkers with her sister, and she asks her sister, Jean, if she believes in God. And Jean is like, I believe that God doesn't make mistakes. And she asks Sue if she does. And Sue is like, I don't. But Jean is like, I'll pray for you. And not in like, oh, condescending, I'll pray for you, but in like, you seem upset, I'll pray for you. And Sue was like, thank you. And then at the end of the episode,
Oh wait, before that, she gets Kurt to make a formal complaint.
Yeah, she does.
She makes her make a formal complaint, and then like Figgin's like, no more religion talk. And then Finn gets to sing his song, Losing My Religion, and everyone's like, that's annoying. And I was like, yeah, it is. I get it.
And then at the end of the episode, they decide to sing a religious song anyway. They sing, What If God Was One of Us?
Religious in quotation marks.
Yes, good point.
Which I've always loved that song.
Oh,
Really?
wow. That's my Imagine. Not gonna
Loved
lie.
in quotation marks.
Like, it's a song that a lot of people I don't think would expect me to like, but I really like that song.
That's my Imagine.
I've never heard it before today, and I
What?
did not like it.
No, Alyssa.
I didn't like
There
it.
are so many pop culture things that use that song. I'm gonna find a pop culture thing that has that song, and I'm gonna see if you. I'm gonna do it.
Hannah, you know about me and pop culture.
True.
We
That's
don't.
true.
We don't talk. We don't socialize.
Well, as I was watching this episode, I forgot Ryan Murphy's whole deal with just drowning us in like cultural references, like with
Yeah.
Kurt's conversation with his dad at the beginning of the episode. They
Yes.
bring up Suzanne Summers, Grey's Anatomy. I'm thinking,
Grey's Anatomy
gosh,
season 6, and I was like, wow, we have come so far.
I remember that line and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm working on the season 16 right now.
Right. There's like what 20 seasons of that show, something like that.
16.
16?
Oh, I thought there were like 20.
I'm
Oh no, that
working
makes
on
sense
it.
because it's
Hannah, I'm
10
working
years ago.
on it.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
didn't know if you were like binging.
No, like it's my job.
Oh, got it. Literally working on it. I thought you were
Yes.
talking about binging. Hot take, Alyssa is an editor, fun fact.
ooh.
No, I'm not, but thank you.
She's working
She
on
works
it.
in post.
Okay,
Okay,
I
okay.
work
Sorry.
in post.
She works in post. Okay, so instead of What If God Was One of Us, If God Were a DJ by Pink. Obviously, that's the better choice.
I don't know about that.
What?
I'm going to say keep with One of Us.
Oh. Okay.
Instead of
I
talking
think-
about songs that I don't know, can we talk about how Sue is an actual person in this episode?
Yeah,
It threw me through a loop.
I actually love.
Yeah, she's a complicated human.
I loved her scene with Emma when she says something like, asking someone to believe in a fantasy is a cruel thing to do, which like to me of all the like quote like anti-religious statements was the one that made the most sense to me. Like she said that and I thought, yeah, I totally agree with that. And that kind of brought like the actual issue of belief, I thought, into light. Like it's more a matter of like, is it true or is it not true, and not this kind of vague notion of like faith and like faith in God versus faith in something or anything. So yeah, I thought that was actually a really powerful scene.
Yeah, Sue actually felt like a real person, a real character with real wants and needs instead of her usual caricature. I can speak. And I think you're right. She did have like the best or maybe most relatable
Mhm.
argument for not believing in something.
Mm-hmm.
Which is completely valid.
And then I liked how her storyline ended. I thought the checkers game and that conversation was really lovely too.
Yeah, the checkers.
Oh, the checkers game, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought Sue was like a real human in this, and she had some really convincing arguments. Yeah.
I did not like the whole plot about Kurt like reporting the rest of the students. That felt a bit underhanded. And I've been there. I've been told when I was very, very young in a public school system, I was told that I could not wear my cross necklace.
Really?
Yeah. It's a real thing. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was a little close to home. I was like, what? I'm not trying to convert anybody. Like, wearing my cross necklace is not a huge issue. At least I didn't think so when I was in 3rd grade.
I don't think any rational person would be like, that's a big issue. Like, that sounds like something that's like really overhanded public school administrators. Like,
separation of church and state. Politics!
So wait.
And that's what we come to Glee for.
Yeah, politics and religion. So wait, on like Ash Wednesday, were you allowed to come into church after, come into school after going to get like ashes on your forehead?
Well, first of all, Ash Wednesday is not a holy day of obligation. Right. So I don't have to go get ashes on my head if I don't want to.
But like, if you did that, would you have been allowed?
I don't think anybody would question it. They might just say like, hey, you have dirt on your face or something.
Right, but I'm saying like in terms of like, not that it's iconography, so to speak, but like it's a religious symbol. That's obviously another conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, they might make me wash it off. I think that's as far as it would go, you know?
That's still like, that's so
my mom, I remember my mom had to come get me for Good Friday, which is a holy day of obligation.
It's not.
Good Friday, is it?
No.
Oh,
there's no mass on Good Friday, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Which one is the holy day of obligation during Holy Week?
Easter?
No.
There's not one during Holy Week.
But usually people get Good Friday off, don't they?
Yeah, it's a common day to have off of work.
Okay, that might be it then. She came to get me on Good Friday, and they were like, yeah, we don't have this day off. And she's like, I'm taking out my child. Tell her that I'm here. Now. I remember it being very strange. I think she wanted to take me to service, which probably got out before school, or probably started before school ended, which is why she came and got me early. It was just a very strange thing where I remember our religion was something that we didn't talk about because at school. We talked about it at home, but at school it was not something that it was allowed to be talked about.
Ben, so do you have to go right now? Do we have a few more minutes?
I have to go in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we can wrap this up in 10 minutes.
Let's wrap it up.
All right. Before we get into our final section, some songs that I would include in a Glee Religion episode. I would have Quinn sing Head Above Water by Avril Lavigne, keeping in with the Quinn-Avril Lavigne theme. Mm-hmm. It's about Avril Lavigne's fight with Lyme disease, and it mentions God, and it's a really good song. It's a banger. So I would have her sing that because she's had a journey with religion and spirituality, and like God got her through tough times, and I think she deserves a song. And maybe instead of the Yentl song, I would have Rachel sing a Regina Spektor song, because Regina Spektor is Jewish, called No One Laughs at God, which is an interesting song, but it's more vocally weird because it's Regina Spektor, but I think she could still do it. So check those songs out if you haven't heard them. They're both really interesting. And the No One Laughs at God talks about some people, God can be funny if people think of him as like a genie or like Jiminy Cricket or Santa Claus.
Oh, like, Finn would be all about that.
Yeah, because that's how he sees God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, could it be a duet between them?
It could. Make it a duet. That'd be fun. Yeah. So those are my Gleeboot ideas. And I like the idea of maybe having a separate Bert in the hospital and a separate religion episode. Or combining them. I think either one works. But up next is Tina time.
All right. So Tina has 2 lines and 1 solo.
She has 3.
No, she has 2 lines in one solo.
I counted 3.
2 lines in one solo.
Fact checking.
She probably has 3 because I didn't write it down, but Cullen did. But I'm sticking with 2 lines in one solo.
2.5.
2.5.
Let's compromise. 2.5 lines in half a solo.
Nailed it.
And so now let's get into our least valuable player for the week. Ben, as the guest, who is your least favorite character?
For me, it would be probably Finn. Because his storyline, again, had the most promise for me at the beginning. And then I thought it ended in kind of a shallow way. And disgusting. Eating a 5-day-old grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to second Finn on that. Like, I just did not care for his story overall because I thought, like regardless of, like, the childness of it, I didn't like the Rachel touching boobs one, and the fact that I could come away seeing Puck as like, wow, that kid's got his head on straight. I was stunned. So yeah, threw me for a loop. I'm gonna have to give Finn the LVP this week.
I am also giving it to Finn.
Poor Finn.
Poor Finn. Usually I love Finn, but I was like, even if you're a little childlike right now, why aren't you praying for Bert?
Mm-hmm.
That really got me. So that's why he is my LVP.
I'm gonna have to make this a unanimous vote. Yeah, Finn, even though I defended him, I still think he has enough presence of mind that maybe praying for Bert would have been a better choice. Or at least understanding that a grilled cheese sandwich isn't going to do anything. And then understanding that eating a grilled cheese sandwich after like 3 days unrefrigerated is not a good idea. So, yep, unanimous Finn decision there.
So Ben, this is going to be a shock to our listeners, but who was your favorite character?
Well, actually, I think it will be a bit of a shock because I changed my mind. I did really. I sure got him. I do still really like Mercedes, so she's like a close number 2 MVP. But I really did like the Sue Sylvester storyline. I think it kind of balanced out the way that the other 2 storylines failed, and I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen the other episodes. I assume that Sue is, like you said, kind of caricature-like for the most part, and she's hilarious. But I like that they kind of let her be a wise character, and like you guys said, human being. So MVP goes to Sue.
Nice. I'm gonna go with Emma. I thought, like, even with, like, some of, like, the weird missteps with Finn, and then also, like, going to Shu instead of directly to Kurt, I still think she killed it as an educator this week. I think she handled things pretty well. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Emma, MVP.
My MVP was Mercedes.
Yay.
I thought Mercedes she was just trying to be a good friend, and she came across as a little like condescending at times, or a little like forcing stuff onto Kurt, but that makes sense for like a Christian teenager. Like if she felt like realistic, like she wasn't too wholesome, but she was very wholesome, like in how much she just cared about Kurt and his dad, and she wanted things to be okay.
And she loves church.
She loves church, just like Karen Cartwright on Smash.
I made that reference in my notes too. I was like, this is just like Smash. I was actually really confused that we didn't see Mercedes' family at the church. I actually kind of thought that would be an interesting thing to explore in the Gleeboot, like especially with like Quinn, how when Quinn's pregnant, Mercedes' family takes her in after she gets kicked out from however many places. And I kind of just feel like that would be something to kind of help this Faith storyline of like Kurt seeing how their family embraces Faith together as a unit. That might be something interesting to explore.
Ben, what was your least favorite song?
You might have gathered this based on the snickers throughout the episode, but I thought Rachel's Yentl song was really, really something in a not good way. So, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting because I haven't heard that song before. So I assume Barbara Streisand sings the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't have anything to compare it to, but yeah, didn't really work for me.
Yeah, she was like looking around the park really strangely as if God was going to appear, and I thought that was very strange. Yeah, so my least favorite song was What If God Was One of Us? And I wrote, it's too fucking cheesy, pun intended. Nailed it.
My least favorite song, shocking no one, is Only the Good Die Young. I
Suki
discussed
also
this.
didn't like that song.
She didn't. She wants to drown it out. Alyssa, who is your least favorite character?
Yes, I have to do both at the same time. Okay, so my least favorite character is... No, I already said my least
Most
favorite
character. MVP.
My most favorite character is going to be Kurt this episode. Because even though I was ragging on him for bringing everyone to... Or, like, telling on his friends, I think he had the most character development and character, like, emotional training here this episode. And I think he learned something from it, which is, you know, Glee does learning in a lot of episodes, but it was an easy episode to follow his journey. And he was the most interesting.
And your least favorite song?
The one that they sing at the end.
What
One
if
of
God
Us?
was
Yes.
one of us? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't like that one.
That was my...
Strange.
She thought it was strange. That was my favorite song. Liked it the most.
What?
Ben, what was your favorite song?
Oh, good question. I don't know if I loved it in terms of how it fit into the story, but I liked Kurt's cover of the Beatles, that I Want to Hold Your Hand. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, as far as like differences from the original, and like it was kind of a cheesy but like touching scene. So yeah, I would choose I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Yeah, I second that. I thought the montage with it was really, really beautiful. I think it was, for me, the most emotionally affecting in a somewhat emotionally affecting episode. Like, even like the Yentl song in the hospital, I was like, I'm not emotionally affected by this. I'm annoyed. So yeah, I definitely think the Kurt's cover of I Want to Hold Your Hand is my favorite.
I'm gonna go with, and this is maybe an unpopular position here, but I really like the song that Rachel sang from Yentl.
I liked it too.
Yeah, it was... First of all, I've never seen it, and I've never heard the song. So I have nothing to compare it to. And second of all, what was really interesting about it to me was that it's a slow song, and usually the songs that they sing on Glee that are slow, I absolutely hate.
Right.
And I liked this one. So it was up there pretty far for me. I started singing along by the end of it, which was kind of fun because I didn't know any of the words, but...
She's like, fuck you.
It's sung in a minor, which is so delightfully depressing. Yeah, I liked it.
All right. So that concludes this episode of Glee.
Wait, did you say yours? You did.
Yeah, God Was One of Us. Love that song. I've written a short story and a feature script about it.
What?
Really?
What?
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting concept. Like a god named Jeff or
Oh,
something.
the specific. Okay, I thought you literally meant you wrote a feature about the song.
Did
How
you
it
write
was
God
made.
Friended Me? Are you the creator of that show?
I am Ryan Murphy. Plot twist.
Ah!
Yeah. So, Hannah, want to quickly plug our Somies?
Yes. So we are on Instagram and Twitter at GleebootPod. And then we're also on Tumblr, gleebootpodcast.tumblr.com.
You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yourboyryan99. And you can follow me on YouTube at yourboyryan. Ben, do you have anything you want to plug? You don't have to.
I just want to plug God and religion and the universe, and I hope that everybody is very safe and healthy from the virus.
Oh.
Sweet.
That's my prayer.
It's your prayer. Thanks,
Grilled
Ben.
Cheesus.
Yes, that's my grilled Cheesus.
Amazing.
All right. Cool. And that'll be all. That's all, folks.
Yay.
Thanks so much for coming on, Ben. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe we can get
And-
you having a third episode next season.
Ooh.
Call me in 10
Alright.
years.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.